When Rigathi Gachagua held the rally in Nairobi, Kayole on Sunday, I was not around. I think that weekend I was not around. But I picked my call and called Moha, and I told him, if he's listening to this video, that this week the president must organize a rally in Nairobi. Not for any reason, just because the president is normally insecure. The kind of rally that Rigathi Gachagua did in Kayole was a well-scripted rally which had an intention of what Rigathi Gachagua wanted to achieve. And let's look at what Rigathi Gachagua scripted in Kayole.
Mimi najua nimeona iko shida ya watu ambaye walibomolewa, si ndio? Na nimeona mumeandika vizuri ya kwamba mteue kamati ya watu wachache ndio mkuje niketi na nyinyi. Mtakubaliana? Mimi ningetaka wale watu ambaye walipata shida hii ya ubomoaji, ambaye ni kitu tulikuwa tumeahidi wananchi haitafanyika kwa serikali yetu, mimi ningetaka niwasikize na nitapanga na mheshimiwa Meja Dong wakuje ndio tukue na nafasi ya kuongea. Tumekubaliana? Tumekubaliana? Tumekubaliana?
This was a script, and you can see those young people carrying placards, and they were standing, they were telling, they had those proposals. It's already crafted on what they should say about meeting the deputy president. So Ruto knew about those placards, the Rigathi knew about those placards, and he knew that while in Kayole, one of the things he would want to address is the issue of displacement by government. And by the end of the 20-minute rally speech that he held there, he was able to achieve this objective and portray himself as the man who does not support some of those bad things happening in Ruto administration. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is for that reason why today William Ruto and the team organized for the Nairobi Degeneration Rally in Korogocho. The president was in Korogocho for relaunch, I think for the launch of Nairobi River Degeneration. This is a project that is aimed, it was just the project, that project number one, it was supposed to be, that event was supposed to be presided over by the deputy president. Because immediately after the 2022 general election, there was a committee that was formed, and that committee was working in liaison with the deputy president, and it was the Nairobi River Commission. The Nairobi River Commission is why even Waititu was nominated to be a member, to be appointed to be a member, before his name was squashed from that list by the High Court. Of course, due to his the corruption cases that was facing him. So, and I can tell you that why did they choose Korogocho? Nairobi River is huge, it's a long queue. They strategically chose Korogocho because they wanted a slum area where they would have tracked the numbers. And Korogocho rally happened after the visit in Kibera affordable housing. And remember, in the visit in Kibera, some MPs of ODM were invited to State House the following day, and they were not there. Those ODM MPs were not in the Kibera event. And then what happened later, and the Nairobi ODM chairperson, Aladwa, met the president in State House. And that was to plan for probably that tour in the Nairobi area. One of the things that William Ruto has always wanted to do is to tour Nairobi with the ODM MPs, with the ODM leaders. So whatever was happening in Korogocho was well crafted, and it was part of the strategy to ensure that he actually tours Nairobi. But I made some observations there. In politics, you don't also just listen to the speeches. Today is Thursday. ODM, even the area member of parliament for Korogocho is TJ Kajwang. Yes, the MP is TJ Kajwang. That side of Korogocho, Ruaraka, TJ Kajwang, Mathare North, Antonio Luoch. You have Kibera MP, who is also Kibera MP is also in Nairobi, and a host of ODM MPs in their numbers did not attend the Korogocho event. Yes. The ODM MPs in Nairobi, who were the initial plan, that was the plan by the president to tour the Nairobi County with ODM because ODM has the majority here. That flopped. And if you listen to the names that Governor Sakaja called in that event, the ODM MPs were not there, including Aladwa. So, ladies and gentlemen, that Nairobi, that Korogocho rally was a big flop. And I want to show you something that maybe you might have mixed, something that really caught my attention. The president had gone there for, that project. And there is this trend of scripting, running some scripts. And there was this script that was done by this gentleman talking about how they would own and some of the few things that they would want for the Nairobi River to be done now.
Hivyo si tungesema Your Excellency uweze kutuangalia na moyo mkunjufu. Sisi yenyewe tumeumia sana kwa sababu hata saa hii this is our strategic plan na ndio nataka uende uisome uipitie, na hizo vitu zote zenye ziko hapo agenda tulifanya on 2022. Iko na maneno ya affordable housing cause our plan was houses jengwe karibu na mto ambao zitakuwa zina face this side, ambao mtu atakuwa anasikia vibaya kutupa takataka. That was our first plan. Plan nyingine ni kuosha hii mto cause we believe that shosho wetu na maguka wetu na mababa zetu, they used to tell us that people used to swim here and kutega samaki. So tunataka turudishe hiyo nini ya mababu zetu na mababa zetu venye ilikuwa. Other thing ni pia hii footpath iende mpaka town, mpaka huko mbali, huko mbele. Sababu watu wanaweza kuja hapa wa cycle, marathon zinafanywa hapa hivi. Na pia tuweze kucreate more spaces za watoto wetu. So
this was done to try to show that probably what they are doing is different with what Rigathi Gachagua was talking about. And listen to this. Now, after this, there was a speech by the MCA for that region, Matakwei Mobimba. I had played it in my previous video.
Tuko kwanza na mawaziri wa Nairobi County. Naona Charles Kerich hapo wa finance. Niliona Patrick Mbogo mahali wa built environment, ni sawa. Tuko na wabunge. Tuko na mheshimiwa Mwenje. Tuko na mheshimiwa Ngeno kujeni. Na tuko na Matach Mobimba, Matakwei. Na tuko na Ringo. Ringo wako wapi? Salimiana.
Korogocho Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi nataka niseme hii mambo ya manyumba. Watu wa Korogocho hawawezi lipa nyumba hiyo pesa umesema. Sawa sawa. Ninaomba Rais, wale watu walibomolewa hapa wapatiwe nyumba bure. Mheshimiwa Rais, nataka niseme hivi. Hapa Korogocho ward unaona kuna stima. Hapa hakuna stima. Walikata stima, miaka nenda, miaka rudi. Tunataka kurudisha stima. Hapa Korogocho ward hakuna sewer line. Hakuna sewer line. Ndio maana unaona hii mto ni chafu. Tunataka urekebishe Nairobi na hapa Korogocho ina work. Ile kazi nimefanya hakuna MCA chawaifanya kwa miaka 2. Hakuna. Na nitafanya kazi. Nitafanya kazi. My name is Matakwei Mobimba. Ya mwisho, His Excellency, mimi ni kijana wa Raila Amolo Odinga. Ila kitu nakuomba, Wewe unajua ulitupiga 10 kwa election. Sababu anaenda AU. Mimi kama kijana wa baba, ninaomba Raila akichukua hiyo kiti. Akichukua kiti, wewe lala na miguu, lala na kiatu. 2027 Wajaluo pa. Asante sana.
Matakwei Mobimba, number one, yes, he's an ODM ally. But he was planted there. He had two messages. Number one, he had his message. His own message was on that of affordable housing. On wale wenye wametolewa manyumba, walitolewa katika manyumba zao, they should be given free houses. Remember when Rigathi was in Kayole, Rigathi was also speaking about those who are displaced. Now from where William Ruto's handlers intelligence team are seated, they should analyze those two videos. That one of Rigathi in Kayole and this one of Matakwei Mobimba in Korogocho, and understand that one of the most contentious issues that will really eat and that will make Ruto not to get the vote in the slum areas is that displacement. And any candidate should start reminding those fellows there on how they were displaced. And this was used. Remember how William Ruto used the displacement that was done in some area in Kariobangi South, I think during Matiang'i's watch. And it was used to hit the Uhuru administration as an administration that was insensitive to the plight of those people. So there are two messages by Matakwei. Number one is on that one, and his message was, if Raila Odinga becomes AUC, wins that African Union chairperson position, then ODM members in Nairobi should support William Ruto. Two things in it. Number one, on that message by Matakwei, ODM is telling William Ruto that probably they're not seeing him supporting Raila, and he should play the lead role in Raila Odinga winning that seat. And in fact, I am seeing a position here. William Ruto is in a tight spot. If Raila Odinga doesn't win that African Union chairperson bid position, it will be blamed on William Ruto. Even though there are so many things behind the scene that probably we cannot say behind the camera. There's so many factors. If you listen to the speech by Thabo Mbeki, you'll understand the candidature of Raila Odinga. You'll understand so many factors on his qualification, whether he can get it and all that. But ODM seems to be telling the president that if Raila Odinga does not become the chairperson of the African Union Commission, then we are not going to support you. So there are two messages. And in fact, I want to debunk something that Matakwei has said. This country, Kenya, will not pick the president based on such factors. One, on what he has done for Raila. Raila is in his 80s. So even if Raila wins that AUC chairperson, he's also deserving as a person. He shall have also won it in his capacity. And that position, there is no way that you can say that you can credit that until now the Luo to vote for William Ruto. No need. On 2027 election, the poll position, the poll decision should be made on clearly what has the president done in terms of his policies and the promises they laid to the people. That is and there is no negotiation around that. That is the poll position. Now, if you look at that script, that MCA is also speaking about affordable housing. And then when William Ruto took the microphone, look at this. And he was telling people about how to register and listen to this. Two things.
Tutahakikisha ya kwamba tunaweka usafi katika hii mto. Mpaka iwe ni mahali pazuri, tuweke samaki na tuhakikisha kwamba mto huu iko na maji, watoto wetu waweze kutumia kwa njia ya sawasawa. Kanairo mko sawa? Na hiyo mpango sio ya Nairobi peke yake. Hiyo mpango ni ya Nairobi. Tunaanza hapa Nairobi tarehe 1 mwezi wa 10. Tutaenda katika miji 4 ya Kenya: Mombasa, Kisumu, Eldoret, Nakuru katika awamu ya pili. alafu kabla ya Disemba tutafikisha hii mpango katika kila kaunti ya taifa letu la Kenya, na vijana 200,000 Kenya mzima watapata ajira katika hii mpango ya Climate Works. Simu niliuliza nipange ajira jameni. Tunapanga ajira kwa mambo ya housing, tunapanga mpango kwa mambo ya Climate Works, tunapanga mpango ya ajira kwa mambo ya digital jobs, na tunapanga kuhakikisha kwamba vijana wetu wako na nafasi ya ajira ndio tuweze kwenda mbele kama Wakenya pamoja.
Can we do fishing in that river? You know, I tend to listen to the president on some end. Sometimes I try to just look at it this way. By that time, there was fishing in Nairobi River. And by the way, if you read the history of Nairobi River, there was some fishing. But what was the population of Nairobi by then? You know, think about it. What was the population of Nairobi by then? That population was huge. That population was very tiny. And so they would do fishing for subsistence. They could take it. Saizi ukisema kwamba there is fish in that Nairobi River, well, there are people who don't even have unga in their houses. How many people will line up there with their hooks looking for that one fish? How many people? So we need to think around that. And then the president is selling that issue of affordable housing indirectly, and is saying it's going to create 20,000 jobs in Nairobi. Then people to apply through, I don't know, there is a code he's saying there. Is it viable? How many people will qualify? Is it for all? What is the criteria of qualification? It's good they're creating, they're returning affordable housing, they're returning some kazi mtaani, but doesn't look well managed. And the crowd did not tag along with the president completely. They're a bit detached. And I want to remind the president's handlers that Nairobi is not very easy as probably they are pursuing, they are thinking. It is in those slums where people who went to strike, mothers buried their children. It is from those slums that mothers buried their children. And when they try to pursue, the administration is praising the police. It is from those slums that people were displaced, and the president went there and promised them a stipend of 10,000. Some of those families are yet to receive even a shilling. You know, it's very true. It is from those tiny, tiny households in the slums that when you are passing policies, or rather that education funding model, some of them feel disadvantaged and cannot be able to take their children to school, to university, to take those serious courses, and they have to revamp to sort some courses. It is in those families that when the education, when the NHIF and SHA is not working, when transition is not well managed, it is in those houses that those households that have to rush to Mama Lucy to take their kids to the hospital, only to go there and lack hospitals, only go to those hospitals and lack drugs. They're told to go and buy drugs outside. So that is the reality. Kwa ground mambo ni tofauti. And the reason why the Nairobi rally backfired, clearly, I'm very sure that even the president's handlers were paying attention and they wanted to know what exactly how is Nairobi going to be? How is Nairobi going to be? I'm very sure they were keen on that. I'm looking at some 4 factors why that Nairobi rally backfired. The first one, the failing policies hits Nairobi most. Yes. All these policies here, all this, when you're talking about those education funding models, when you're talking about those, Nairobi is congested. So when government is not, this is the nerve center of the government. When it is not working, Nairobi is worst hit. And Nairobi is very sensitive to it. So people are more enlightened. And in fact, more tied to this is that after Kenyans were pushed out of the streets, they resorted to online. And there is one thing that Gen Z protest brought to this country, and unless those in power are not looking at it, the Gen Z protest sparked, in fact, it awakened the masses. And people are spying on government every day, on what government is doing, what that governor is saying, what who the MCA is saying, what that senator is saying. People are spying on government. So people know very well that hizi vitu unasema, you've been saying it. You've been saying them. And people are taking stock of this. That is why it's not very easy. It's not very easy. It's becoming technically difficult. Then the third issue is about Raila cabinet deal was a miscalculation. And the narrative of you betrayed us is there. That William Ruto betrayed the Gen Zs is there. People, you know, politicians tend to believe that people forget. But people don't forget. They just remember. But at the elections, on the election day, around that electioneering period, they revert to tribal cocoon. They to their tribal linings and then forget about everything. And so Ruto ignored the Gen Zs on the altar of politics. And that was a big blunder. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that Nairobi is not what really most of us would perceive it to be. Thank you.